So do we have prior meeting minutes to approve?
Don't believe so.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think so.
No, they are there. Because I didn't go to the last meeting, so I reviewed them. I can try and put them in the chat.
That'd be great. Thanks, Michelle.
Michelle, you sound under the weather.
If there is a specialist that I haven't seen, Ryan, crazy.
Mm. I hope you feel better.
That's not good.
Sorry, Michelle.
Mm.
So Michelle, what are the dates of the meeting minutes?
Just January 15th, I think. That's it.
January, the
I'm sorry.
12/18. I just found them. Do you want me to try and, is there a chat button here?
There should be a share button at the bottom. So, Steve, you'd have to get out and then let me see if I can multiple participants here. Let me try that.
Well, I
Try
can,
it now, Michelle. You know, let's see if this works. Michelle, you want to try? I just opened it up for anybody to share.
Yep. Hang on one second. Okay, hang on. It's asking me for some different setting approvals just because I've never shared in a Zoom. Let me see if it works now. I think I got it. Yeah, hang on. Okay, do you see it now?
Perfect.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good job.
so is this the only one or is there another one, Michelle?
I believe we're up to date.
Yeah,
we
we're
approved
up to date.
prior, so
This is the only one.
Yeah, last meeting we approved a whole bunch of them, so they should be up to date for the 18th.
Okay. All right, it's 7:01. How do we start this meeting? Is there a button we push?
It's already recording. So
Oh, it is.
Yep. When I came on, it started recording. I think they changed the setting for that, Steve. So they'll go through and edit it at the end to take out before we start. So if you want to call the meeting to order, we do have a quorum.
Okay. Well, welcome to the Shaker Lane School Building Committee meeting for Wednesday, January 15th. The first order of business is to approve the prior meeting minutes for December 18th. Michelle is sharing those on the screen. Any comments? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we'll do a roll call vote. Ryan?
Ryan, yes.
Kelsey?
Kelly?
Kelly, I'm sorry.
Kelly, yes.
Michelle?
Michelle, yes.
Steve Venuti?
Steve Venuti, yes.
Bob Romley?
Rama, yes.
And Steve Moore, yes. Motion carries. Next order of business is to approve the invoices. Let me pull those up. That's not it. Your screen. So we have two invoices for consideration tonight. The first is for Turner Townsend, Harry, $8,890. And the second one is for Studio G, $45,000 even, for a total of $53,890. Any discussion, comments?
Make a motion to approve the invoices as submitted.
Second,
Okay, we'll do a roll call vote. Ryan,
Ryan, yes.
Kelly,
Kelly, yes.
Michelle,
Michelle, yes.
Steve Venuti,
Stephen Nudie, yes.
Bob Bromley,
Bob Bromley, yes.
and Steve Moore, yes. So let's see, we'll go back to the agenda. If I can find that. So the next order of business is a Studio G, building orientation update and discussion on the FAS meeting, which was moved to January 29th.
Yes, thank you. So Mark had sent out an email explaining the process that we're going through right now. If you haven't had a chance to review it, that's totally okay. Basically, when we first started looking at the upper field site, we oriented the building so that the academic wings were running east and west to give the best solar orientation. And then we were exploring potential locations on the site for a leaching field. And of the two promising locations for that, one of them was basically right here. So that discovery came fairly late in the game. So at that point, we were about to submit the PSR, and the MSBA had asked for an FAS draft. So in our FAS presentation, we explained that the orientation of the building, which right now is as submitted at the end of the PSR, it looks like this. We said that we are going to be rotating it clockwise to get better solar orientation because these leaching field locations have gone away. So it's good news for the project. It'll be a better project in general. With the rotation, it will look something like this, where we still have a separate car loop and a separate bus loop. We still have the site access coming off of Shaker Lane. We still have emergency access all the way around the building. It gives better solar orientation in these wings, and it makes the playground area and the outdoor classrooms a little bit more protected and a little bit more facing into the woods rather than facing down towards the wetlands. So it is a pretty substantial improvement to the project in general, but it did cause the MSBA to ask us to go ahead and make that change, show it to you so that you're all aware of it, and then present it on the 29th. So I have a couple
Marilee,
more things to talk
Steve
about, but let's talk about this.
yeah, Marilee, Steve has raised his hand.
Yeah, Steve.
Where in this new drawing is the expansion area?
Yes, so that's another thing that has improved this. Previously, we were showing it here now, and we were showing it from the second floor also down to the first floor, which is a little bit tough because you have to plan to strengthen the structure of that if you're going to expand on a second floor in the future. Now what we can do is we've got plenty of space to expand here and potentially here. So you have a couple different options for expansion space in the future.
It actually works better in those locations because there's stairs right there. So
Yeah.
we can double dip into the stair location.
Right. And then the expansion, if it's classrooms, they would still be connected to the learning dens, which I think is a question that somebody had raised in one of the early meetings. So it's improved in a few different ways.
May I ask a question? With this rotation of the footprint of the building, does that require a vote tonight for approval?
I don't think so. It's unless anybody raises an objection or thinks so, it's more just keeping you informed that this is how the project is developing. You had taken a vote to choose the upper field as the location. You had not really voted on the form of the building because that has not been really a focus of our discussions to this date. We're getting that into that in schematic design.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Mark?
Can you just touch upon the potential leaching field locations now that we've
Yep.
moved on? Thanks.
Yep. So now we are looking at a leaching field down in this location. There have been some preliminary test pits. They want to come back, I think, over February break and do additional testing. One of the test sites is going to be in this little strip of grass. We'll be reaching out to you for more about that. They will try to keep the test pit in the strip of grass, but there is a chance they may need to take up to 2 parking spaces. So if that happens, we'll coordinate with you to figure out how to make that work for your staff. I know you're tight on parking.
And it's
So-
over break when everyone's away, theoretically. So
Yeah.
So the leaching field has to be tied into the new building before we demolish the old building. Are we looping around the old building to get to that leaching field?
Yes. Yeah, we have not discussed with Samiotis yet exactly how the pipes would run, but most likely it would go underneath the road and travel over here.
Okay.
All right. Any other-
questions or concerns, or our charge from the MSBA was just to make sure that everyone on the SBC was on board,
Yeah.
essentially. So I guess maybe it's not a vote necessarily, but we just want to loop everyone into the process, this is typical to where we are in this point in the process.
Well, let me just say this. Does anyone on the committee have an objection?
Mary
Okay,
Lee,
good.
does this new design change the square footage at all?
No, we will still be working within the approved square footage. When we're in schematic design, things will shift around a little bit. And you can see it's kind of tight here between the wetland buffer and the edge of the property. So we're going to be squishing things a little bit in here. So it'll look slightly different, but we'll still have the academic wings arranged as so. We'll still have the main entry down here. We'll still have gym and cafeteria and loading down here. So the big picture things won't change. There will be a little bit of shifting around, but the overall square footage, we have our maximum that we're working towards, and we won't go over that.
Thank you.
Okay. So that brings us to the next question we have for you. There has been a design and site selection subcommittee who's been involved with these conversations. Now the conversation is shifting a little bit. We're going to be talking about exterior design of the building and the site. So now would be a good time if anybody wants to make any changes to who is on that subcommittee. If anybody wants to join it or leave it or keep it the same, now's a good time to do that.
Maybe we put that on the agenda for the next meeting.
Sure.
If
Yeah, not
people are-
everybody's here.
Prepared
Okay.
to talk about that.
Great. And then we have a need for 2 additional subcommittees. First one would be sustainability. For this one, we recommend that it is 2 people, potentially more, from the SBC. That way, if one of you can't make a meeting, the other person can, plus some volunteers from the community. So that would be at least 1 member from the Littleton Sustainability Committee, and maybe there's some other citizens who are especially interested in it. That can also be put off until the next meeting, but at least 2 people would be good for that one. And then the third subcommittee would be to discuss design bid build versus construction manager at risk. And we recommend that this be whoever feels that they have knowledge already about it or an interest in really being involved in the discussion. And those people would then make a recommendation to the full SBC as to which delivery method they should propose. And this would happen, discussions between now and March, and then that subcommittee would no longer be needed. So it's a very short-term position.
Mary Lee, I can tell you that we had a little discussion at the last select board meeting about this. It was very unofficial, but it seemed like the consensus of those 2 boards was CM at risk.
Really? Okay. Then we would say if you don't feel the need to have a subcommittee or have many further discussions, then you could just make that decision in March.
I mean, we'd still like to hear like your opinion on it and Mark's opinion on it, just to make sure. And
Okay.
of course, the building committee, Steve and Bob and somebody else was on it, but
Yeah,
Mike,
Mike.
Mike's Caduto. Yeah.
Mike,
Yeah,
yeah,
people
I mean,
with that kind of
they've
experience,
built a
yeah.
couple of buildings with this, so I'd really be interested in hearing their opinions. Maybe
And,
it's
you know,
something that we don't need a subcommittee for and just do it at a regular meeting.
Yeah. Ironically, I'm the chairman of the alternate delivery method at MBTA.
Mm.
And so we're looking at design build and CM at risk and trying to get away from design bid build.
Yep. Yeah, you have more control over
Yep.
who gets the job.
Yeah. So, I'm in full agreement with Steve on the CM at risk, and I would think that Mike has a similar opinion.
Yep.
So I think we should put together on the agenda for the meeting, and that's also something we want to discuss, is scheduling the next meetings in the next few months and get dates on calendars so everybody can start, penciling those in for the year. But definitely in the next meeting, we should put that down because there are good pros and cons to talk about DBB versus CMR. So I think that's a good time for that discussion.
Right.
And that segue, having said that, we were Studio G provided us with some dates, and we've had a discussion quickly about some dates going forward for the next series of school building committee meetings. Next month, we're trying once a month with a formal school building committee meetings, but also some work groups or subcommittees will happen as well during the month. But February there is a vacation, so we're suggesting that the next meeting would be on Wednesday, February 12th, which I think is the week before the school vacation week. And then the following month in March, the 19th. And we can certainly provide these dates if you guys want to talk about them and make decisions later.
February 12th would be the second Wednesday.
I believe so, yeah.
That conflicts with our PMBC meetings where we usually have invoices to approve.
How about the 19th would be the vacation week. If the 26th, I think if you remember, last year we weren't as busy. I believe we postponed the meeting last year for that reason, but we could either do it on a different day or the following Wednesday would be the 26th, and that's pretty much the end of the month. That would be the fourth Wednesday. Is there another conflict with another committee on the fourth Wednesday?
Yeah, we do the second and fourth Wednesdays.
Okay.
I'm just going to suggest, because since we're really ramping up with schematic design and we have mapped out a schedule as far as meeting with the subcommittees and so forth, is it a possibility to meet the week of the 10th on a different evening? Just putting it out there if that's an option. If not, we can certainly work around the school vacation week.
Would Tuesday the 11th for everyone?
Fine with me.
Yeah, it's fine with me.
Great, thanks for accommodating.
Yeah.
We have a lot to share with you, so we don't want to keep it close to our chest. We want to share it with you all and keep everyone apprised of what we're developing here. So
All right, we'll shoot for Tuesday the 11th, 7 o'clock. Coordinate that with Dorothy and people going forward for February. For March, we were looking at normal third Wednesday on 3/19. So March 19th would be the March meeting. We run into the same situation in April for an April school vacation, but the third, it's the fourth week is the vacation week. So the third Wednesday, the 16th, April 16th would work. And then May 14th would be up through May. And then I believe school is out. Last day of school is Monday the 16th. So we could certainly shoot for the 18th to be the third Wednesday for meeting then. And then we can regroup after the 16th and the 18th in June and talk about meetings going forward from there. Is that okay with everyone?
School's out only if we have no snow days. The 24th if we have 5 snow days.
Bite your tongue.
Yeah.
You just jinxed us, Kelly.
You're very optimistic, I must say.
All right, excellent. So that's us penciling in, and we'll write these dates down for the agenda for the next meeting just to get confirmation. And we'll plan on the 11th, Tuesday, for February's meeting.
We have a first
Excellent.
agenda item for that, right? So,
After approved meeting minutes. Come
true. Second agenda item.
on, second agenda item.
Marilee, do you have your hand up?
Yep, I do. A question, has the town meeting been scheduled yet?
Early May.
Yep, May 6th.
May
Tuesday,
6th.
May 6th. So, we were talking about, that's something, we were talking about, Kelly, myself, Steve, one of the thoughts that we had for this, and I haven't talked about this with the town moderator, the town clerk, but, our meeting begins at 7 p.m. So one of the thoughts, is that so that we have sufficient time to introduce something that's significant to, the town, is that we do an informational session from 6 to 7, and people come in. We can also advertise that date when we publicize the town meeting. So I believe, Kelly, you thought that was a decent idea. Justin said the same thing. So Steve, you think that what are your thoughts on that as an idea?
Which Steve?
Let's see, any of the Steves. Either,
good.
I should say.
It sounds good to me.
Because I also want to give everybody we want to give everybody enough time. So I think if we set aside a dedicated hour with the presentation, maybe allow for some Q&A, it's outside the window of, so it won't be part of town meeting. It would be a separate and distinct meeting. But at the same time, it piggybacks very nicely with town meeting, so that those who are attending just have to leave a little bit earlier to attend. And
Yeah,
hear about
my suggestion is we just put a preamble to it. I mean, we had the joint committee meeting last year where the Q&A turned into a dialogue between the different committees, which kind of got out of hand. And I had the same situation at work yesterday where a budget committee meeting turned into a workshop. So I think we need to put a preamble to any meeting that, the purpose of the meeting, it's a presentation, questions are allowed, but it doesn't turn into a workshop and then there's a specific time that the meeting ends.
Right. And I think, Steve, this I agree with you. This really is a presentation to the public. We're not presenting to FinCom, Select Board, or what have you. This is to the public. We, at that point, hopefully, our boards would have already heard enough about where we are to, so that they'd be informed. But now it's trying to share it with the broader audience at that time, what our plan would be for the fall, for the special town meeting and the ballot vote.
I'm just thinking about the public that'll want to get involved in the conversation.
Yep.
So, just a suggestion.
Yep. Okay.
And is this in person at the middle school? Is that
Correct.
a correct assumption? Okay.
Right.
I think the next order of business is budget and schedule update.
Yes, the project's on schedule and on budget.
Good to hear.
The budget and the schedule was sent as part of the package if you want to take a look at it, but we're shooting for February for the vote by the board of directors, by the MSBA. That'll officially bless us into going into schematic design, which we know it's already going on, but it's going to continue. The timing for the May meeting would be great because I think we'll be well along in schematic design for size of the building, costs. We can talk about when estimates we pull together and what we can share at that point. But everything right now is on schedule. We're well within our budget based on what's been put for extra services and for basic services for Studio G and ourselves. So things are moving along fairly well right now.
Let me ask a question, Mark, and and it doesn't specifically pertain to this project, came up in conversation at work today, but what percent contingency do you use at schematic?
Suresh, you want to
Sure.
dive in on that one?
So
Could I
depending
ask a clarifying question? If it's design contingency or construction
Or owner, there's two,
contingency,
yeah.
which one you're
Well,
referring to? Because they're different.
it's total project contingency.
So, to answer the question, so what we do is there's a design and bidding contingency that's carried in the cost estimate in the construction cost. And beyond that, we carry a 5% construction contingency usually for, new projects. So that's the norm. The MSBA reimburses up to 1% of contingency only on construction costs. The safe way is to carry about 5%, which should be more than enough for a new building.
At 30%?
So total would be, there'll be contingency in the design, which will be between 12 to 15% in the design and bidding contingency, which is part of the construction cost. And then beyond that, in the total project budget, we'll have an additional 5% construction contingency. Does that answer the question?
Well, so what's the total at 30% design? What is the total project contingency that the estimate identifies?
Would be somewhere around 20%.
Okay, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Thank
total
you.
contingency.
Yep. So any other comments or questions? Next item is public comment. I assume there's no public here.
Does not appear to be so, Steve.
All right, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Well, before we do that, I think we've identified the next meeting date, so
Yeah, February 11th, yep.
yeah.
Tuesday
Okay,
the 11th,
so-
7 o'clock, yep.
So roll call vote to adjourn, Ryan,
Brian, yes?
Kelly,
Kelly, yes?
Michelle,
Michelle, yes?
Stephen Udi,
Stephen Udi, yes.
Bob,
Bob Ramley, yes.
and Steve Moore, yes.